We are actively moving right now.
I'm Cass.
And I'm Shelly.
We're a couple from the Rocky Mountains of North America.
We sold everything and moved on to our sailboat over 2 years ago.
Come join us as we adventure through the Mediterranean Sea.
What'd you guess?
Anchor watch at 4 o'clock in the morning. Not fun. Well, yeah, it's been a rough morning. Imagine laying in bed and being generally sound asleep. We knew we had a storm coming up, and so it's a little bit of a restless night when we have storms like this. But all of a sudden, we were awakened by a bigger gust of wind and a side movement in the boat. And so, jump up out of bed, both of us run upstairs. Cass's anchor alarm started to go off, so that confirmed our thoughts that we were dragging, and yeah, we dragged 60 meters. So yeah, we really felt like we had a good solid anchor set. We dropped the anchor in 7 meters and put out 60 meters of chain and felt like that was sufficient, but we've dragged the full length of our chain. So yeah. That was at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's now I don't know, 5:30.
5:40.
Yeah, oh, 5:45. Oh, not to mention, almost immediately after we came up, all of a sudden we turned around and man, stuff happens fast. So the dinghy flipped and our outboard went straight into the water. So, I mean, we still have it. It stayed attached to the boat, but she got dunked. And yeah. So that happened. Yeah. This is getting crazy. Woo! 37 knots. The sea state has definitely become much choppier. But since we dragged, our anchor reset, and I'm gonna come out of the wind. Whew. But yeah. We still probably have another 36 hours of this, so. It's crazy. Woo. Oh, that's our dinghy. We are actively moving right now.
The big boat's done too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing on that way around?
Okay, so it is still dragging.
Nope,
Hang on.
moving side by side.
179. We're going side by side. So we are balancing out.
Okay.
We're creating a new smiley.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so this got a little crazy for us. Started moving, anchor alarm went off again, and we dragged another 30 meters out, came up, started the engines, just put it a little bit in forward gear. I'm just trying to hold the boat against this wind. We have a consistent 30 knots and we've topped out at 38 too. So it's sand, and so our delta anchor holds pretty good up to about 28 knots in sand, but once we bump over that, then we start having some issues with the holding. So I'm just trying to see if she'll reset for us again. We spent the last 5 hours held really well, really tightly. So after we dragged 60 meters first thing this morning at 4. So luckily, if you see behind me, we've got about a half mile to go between us and the shore behind me, so we've got plenty of room. And this whole bay is flat bottomed. We started at 7 meters. I've now dragged a full 100 meters, and I'm still sitting at about 13 meters of water. So she's not dropping off fast. We're not losing the bottom at all on the anchorage. So one reason we chose this anchorage is we knew it was big, wide open. A bunch of other boats here to our port side, but nobody's behind us and nobody's on our starboard. So we're just doing the dance, playing the game.
Wave action in a small anchorage. Thanks for the reminder. Woo, there she goes. That's one dinghy flip. Two dinghy flip. Oh, all I can do is laugh. It's not good.
Gone.
Yep. Bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye, seat. That was 45 half, by the way. That sucks. Out to sea. Yep. No.
You might think that we're sailing with the wave conditions and Shelly steering the boat, but what we've had to do is, because the anchor keeps slipping on us, is we've engaged the engine and we hand steer, and we just keep the bow pointed towards the wind. As the boat swings through the wind, the bow blows off, and then the engine's just driving around, and they just keep a little bit of the pressure off the anchor. Not a lot. We only have it in the first gear, so it's not, we're not using a lot of engine, but just enough to keep a little bit of pressure off of the anchor. So far it's being successful. We've been doing it for about 90 minutes now. We've moved about 140 meters now off of our original mark. So if I can have a consistent wind in the mid-20s, then we can easily reset our anchor back up where it should be set right now. But yeah, kind of crazy.
So we've made a tough decision, but one that we feel like is a calculated, appropriate decision. And that's actually to move anchor. And so we currently have about 40 knots of wind. It's going to move to a different area because we need to be able to sleep tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna go forward. I have my safety vest and I'll have my safety line attached, and we'll just have to slowly pick up anchor as we can with the motor driving up on the chain, and just then move as quickly as possible to a new spot and drop and go. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
All right. Whew.
Yeah. Wowza.
What a crazy ordeal that was.
Yeah.
All right. So as we talked about, we already, you guys know we have been slipping on our anchor all day and working hard at trying to keep it set up. And the wind is not going to stop for the next 36 hours. So sitting in the helm hand steering for 36 hours is not going to work. So I made the decision to just move the boat, find a new place to drop an anchor. But of course, everywhere is blowing anywhere from 32 to 46.7 is the tops wind speed we saw when we came over to set the anchor.
Within our same anchorage.
Oh yes, inside the same anchorage. So found a spot in a little shallower area, big open space, nobody's over here.
Yeah.
So it's a good hole, good spot to anchor. But with 46 knots of wind, that's an ordeal. So
Yeah.
got the chain up, which actually went not too bad.
Yeah.
Getting the chain
Right.
up was not bad.
No, that was manageable.
And then coming over here, started with about 30 knots, and I thought, we should be able to drop chain with 30 knots. We do it with 25, 26 knots all
Yeah.
the time. Just a storm anchor, no big deal.
Yep.
Came over here, and by the time we got here, it bumped up into the 40s again. So we're setting the anchor in 40 knots of wind. Now we debriefed it and we talked about it, so we both knew exactly what was happening.
Right. Pre-planned.
But as the chain started paying out,
Yeah. So everybody knows typically my thing is the anchor, and so the chain starts to pay out, and our windlass does a very good job. But when I start to have the chain run, when it's like and it just goes, there's not much I can do to stop it.
as it free runs out, as the wind takes the boat, there's no way to stop it. She's trying to get the handle inside the nut and can't get it there, and so we dropped all 80 feet of our anchor chain.
Yeah.
Gone. Luckily not gone because there's a little rope about 6 feet long that ties into a hook, a little clasp on the inside of the locker compartment, chain locker. And that tiny little rope, which is not designed, it's not big enough, that's not an anchor rod big enough to hold this boat, especially not in 46.7 knots of wind.
Oh no.
For some reason, we just, for the grace of all things good,
Yeah.
it held.
Yeah.
The knot held, the little clip on the inside held, and I was able to get forward and get our, what we usually do is we have a hook that we hook into the chain,
bridle.
and yes, a bridle, and so I was able to get the bridle hooked on, run around the top of the windlass. It has, we'll show you pictures of it, has a place for the rope, and then I was able to start collecting the chain from there as we're still 46 knots of wind, so it was hectic.
Yeah,
It was pandemonium.
So he was up on the bow at this point. I was then in the helm, and I'm just trying to steer into the wind and giving him a little bit of motor so that I can give reprieve on that chain, because we had to get it off of the road and it was all the way out off of the winch. And so he then had to hand line in as much as he could, which was about 5 meters.
Well, I had the windlass helping me.
Right.
What I basically do is capture the chain, run it through the windlass on the winch, pull it up, then use another rope to capture the progress, replace the hook behind that progress capture device, and then just incrementally, and I don't even have a meter to work with. It's about half a meter, about 1.5 feet. So I'm just each 1.5 feet just having to take up slack, progress capture, take up slack, progress capture.
Yeah.
It worked just fine.
It did.
But you have to feed the chain through a gypsy, which is what the chain sits into on the gypsy, on the windlass. So I had to feed it through there at the same time as, anyway, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But we got through it.
We did get through it, and now we're anchored, and we have 75 meters of chain out and 5 meters of long sandy shallow bottom.
So we're sitting on a 15-to-1 right now.
We should be totally fine.
Holy cow, if that's not going to be good enough, then I don't know what's going on. So
yeah,
but anyway, so that's us. We're downstairs now. I think we're going to start talking about dinner maybe. And,
yeah, I think so. Maybe a Greek salad or
oh, that sounds good.
baked
I like
potato.
that.
I don't know.
like
We'll
Greek
see.
salad.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, guys. Peace out. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Huge thanks to our patrons for helping to make our adventure possible.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our video, like and subscribe. And don't forget to join us next week.